What's going on, y'all? Forward Fabian. I'm back with a video. I'm actually doing a reaction to the first time you realize Americans really messed you up. The actual part one of the TikTok series, man. I did a video to this a few days ago, and it got great response, man. So I'm gonna continue doing these. Comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts. Let's see if anything they talk about in this video is slightly different, or if they're addressing new themes. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell. Follow me on X and Twitter. Or X and Instagram at Fort Worth Fabian.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Literally early this morning, I dragged my ass to the embassy, which is an hour away from where I'm living in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
I get into the embassy, I do my thing, I go up to the window, and I'm getting my passport name changed. I need a new passport so that I can leave, go back to the States to see my family, and come back into the country here. And I've been waiting for this meeting for over a month. I give the woman all of my stuff and she's like, okay, great, where are the stamps? And I had printed out a checklist from the embassy website and there were no stamps on this checklist. But apparently I needed to bring a couple of stamps so that way I could pay for the postage for the government to send me my passport, which I already have to pay for. And I already have to pay taxes in America, but I obviously don't see any of the benefit because I'm not living in the country. Why can't you just pay for my stamps? So now I have to wait 3 more months for another appointment to get my passport.
That's crazy.
So I'm moving to Portugal and I have somebody that's helping me with the visa process over there. And she's asking me questions about my income. And I say, yeah, I have a full-time job and I also run 2 businesses. And she's like, that's a lot. And I said, yeah, I do work about, anywhere from 80 to 110 hours a week. But, it's what's necessary right now. I need to take care of my son. I need to manage all these different things. And I need to be able to afford, a pretty good life. And she said, well, don't you make over what the minimum is required here in Portugal? And I said, yeah, no, I definitely do. But I need to be able to take care of all those other things. And she's like, how do you have time for your son? I'm like, well, it's not the amount of time that I'd like, but that's what's necessary. And it just was really clear to me, like with the confusion, that they actually have work-life balance and you just don't work yourself to death. You can actually enjoy your life.
Hi. So I've been living in Spain for about 11 years and this happened
That's a huge concept, that people here just don't understand. People I've worked with, colleagues that just don't know how to put work down. No social life. Working, getting off at maybe 4 or 5 p.m., at the normal 8 to 5 or whatever, 9 to 5. You come home, maybe eat something, and you work until 10 p.m. It's like, where are you? Why don't you just leave work at work? And I think that's one of the dangerous things about these hybrid roles and, work from home. When you work from home and you're a workaholic, you definitely not putting the work down. I know, like, my uncle, he don't even know how to stop working. It's like, you're off now. You can step away from your desk. Because it's like, people, I don't really think that there's some roles to where you can get ahead. So maybe you're working so that you don't have to work twice as hard tomorrow. But then in some roles, it's like you're working just to still be in the continuous rat race or the continuous hamster wheel. Like, you're not really making that big of a dent. So you take a break, step away, have a social life, talk to people, enjoy your family, work on hobbies and crafts, whatever you need to do, man. Don't just work yourself to death, because these jobs don't care about you, man. You're replaceable.
11 years ago. It was my first time going to the emergency room and when, stomach problems, whatever, couldn't stop throwing up. And I go in, give the girl at the front desk my ID and my debit card. And she takes my ID, checks me in, hands both cards back to me. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I give the debit card, I pay at the end. So I go in, everything, give me medicine, and I go back out. I stop at the front desk again. And I was like, hi, I'm leaving. Here's my debit card. And she just looks at me and she's like, I don't know why you keep giving this to me. You don't need to give me your debit card. I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to pay for health services, even in a private hospital.
The healthcare
Okay, I have another
thing.
one. When I was studying in Spain, we had our orientation the first week of classes, and our program director sat us all down and had to explain our health insurance to us and how it worked. And basically it worked that you paid like €1,000 for the semester, and you got health insurance, like free health insurance for everything, covered everything. And she had to sit us down, and she had this big group of Americans in a room, and she was like, listen, if you are sick, go to the doctor. And we were all like, yes. And she was like, no, like, Americans don't go to the doctor. You won't go to the doctor when you're sick. So I have to tell you every year to do this, and still kids will just put off going to the doctor because you're used to just, like, pushing through illness. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's a cold, go to the doctor. And she had to actually, like, spell that out for us.
Okay, so I was living in Thailand, and I got into a motorcycle accident because the guy in front of me turned without a blinker. Like, he was on a moped, and he just kind of turned into the side of me and just knocked us both over. And so my motorcycle landed on my knee, and I couldn't walk, so they needed to call me an ambulance to go to the hospital. But, like, I was like, I can't afford an ambulance, so the whole time that they're like, the ambulance is coming and they're like putting me in the ambulance, I was like, how much is this gonna cost? How much does this cost? Like, I someone can pick me up, how much does this cost? Because, like, in the States it could be like $4,000 to get a 15-minute ride to the hospital. That's what's crazy. And the guys just laughed at me, and they were like trying to figure out the word for it, and they're like, free, it's free. And I was like, huh, well, that's different.
Crazy.
I'm a
man.
black person living in Japan right now, and yeah, so
You say yeah.
when you're in America and you're shopping, you're browsing, whatever, sometimes, not all the time, in my own experience, I've never had the experience of being followed around because of my skin color, because I just don't shop that often. And sometimes when I want to go get something, I know exactly what I want. I go in, I buy it, and then I leave. But here in Japan, when you go in and you're browsing for something, the employees are walking around to help you. So they may follow you, but they're not following you because of your skin tone. They're following you because they want to help you. They want to take the initiative and be right there when you need them, when you're ready to pay, if you have questions, whatever the case may be.
See, I never experienced
I live
that.
in Ireland, and I've lived most of my adult life here. I moved to Ireland in 1995. My teenage daughter was born here many years ago, and when she was born, I spent 2 nights in hospital before she was born. I had an emergency cesarean section, and then I spent a further 6 nights afterwards. The total cost to me was $0. I kept asking them, like, are you sure no one wants my credit card? Like, do you want my details so you can send me the bill? And they would just, like, laugh, like, oh, you're American. There's no bill. So 8 nights in hospital, emergency procedure, $0 bill.
So when I was in high
that's
school, I was a
crazy,
lifeguard,
man.
and during
Like,
my lifeguard training,
I wonder, like, the psychological effects and effects that we don't understand when it comes to just free healthcare. When you're able to, one thing that they pointed out is the fact that Americans just push through illness and sickness. That probably stems from just the outrageous bills you get. But sometimes Americans just thug it out, or we'll go to the, what's it called? The pharmacy, get some pills, get some, behind the counter medication or something like that, and just take an Advil. Let's thug through it. Let's drink some orange juice, get you a cup of tea and honey. So that's partially the result of that, but I think there's bigger depths, there's larger extremes that we may not even really comprehend at face value. But, something to think about.
they taught us that before we even administer first aid or CPR, we had to ask for consent to avoid being sued. Now fast forward a couple of years, and I'm in London as a waitress, and my company sends me to go do CPR training. And while I'm there, they go over the same stuff that I learned in the States, but I notice that they're completely glossing over this one particular area. So I raise my hand and I ask, what are the laws here? Like, how do you avoid being sued if something goes wrong? To which every single person in the room starts laughing at me and says, oh, you're American, right? Yeah, no one here is going to sue you for trying to save their life.
Okay,
That's
I have
crazy.
type 1 diabetes, and I lived in Costa Rica. The very first day that I was there, my insulin pump stopped working. This was like some weird fluke, unrelated to anything else. But I didn't have a doctor yet or really know where to go, so I went to a pharmacy because I needed to get long-acting insulin so I could still treat my disease. And when I went to the pharmacy, the insulin was $20 for a vial.
In the United States, I pay $322 for that same vial.
I also want to add that I got the insulin over the counter without a prescription. In the United States, I have to see my endocrinologist 4 times a year to get a prescription for a medication that keeps me alive.
That's crazy.
Here's a fun one. So I'm
Hanging
teaching
by a
third grade
thread.
in Thailand, right? And it's sports day. Kids running around, screaming, having fun, as kids do. And I hear a bang. Instantly, my heart drops into my stomach. My entire body tenses. My adrenaline starts pumping. And I'm looking around for the shooter. And then I realize I'm in Thailand. And people don't have guns. And they don't shoot children at their school. It was a balloon.
That's crazy.
A balloon popped. Fuck you, America.
So I don't live abroad
Another
anymore.
example of that. That's his own PTSD, a form of it, to where he hears a loud pop. Being conditioned in America, you assume that's gunfire. That's a gunshot. That is wild. You really got to experience these other places to know really the kind of timing, the mindset Americans are on. But I like how in the majority of their stories, they're like, people laugh at them and just, you're American. You American dummy.
Of 2018, I lived in Germany, and I have so many stories. The town that I lived in had like a main plaza area, and there was a cafe in that plaza. So a couple of my other American friends and I decided to try it out one day, and there was a construction site nearby. We heard a really loud bang, and, you know, we kind of assumed that someone had fired a gun, and so we, like, ducked for cover, and then we were looking around frantically, trying to find, like, a place that we could run to or hide to get out of the situation, and then we realized that no one had shot a gun. No, it was a loud bang from the construction site. That's it. That's all it was. We'd been speaking in English, and we all have really obvious American accents, so all the Germans around us gave us these really sad looks, like, oh,
Dang.
These poor, poor Americans.
I've lived abroad for a little over a year, and coming back for the holidays, I have really come to realize that the food in this country is garbage. Since leaving the US, I have lost about 40 pounds, and I have not tried to lose weight. I haven't been conscious that I'm losing weight. It just has naturally fallen off of me because food in other countries is not overprocessed. It's not packed with sugar and preservatives and all of the things that are in the food here. And since being back, even for the short amount of time that I've been here, I have found it extremely difficult to maintain my weight, even though I'm not overeating. I'm eating basically the same diet I was eating abroad. It's simply the way the food is processed. So moral of the story, try eating organic as much as possible. This food is killing you.
Yeah, I believe it. Had McDonald's the other day. Dang, man, we're just in the system. There's so many things that just go over our heads we're not even really paying attention to, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's funny because in a prior video I was arguing the food overseas is trash, but I think like just from a perspective of things being naturally, you know, organic, homegrown, things of that sort, like she said, no preservatives, that dynamic is what's got the edge over American food. Now, we probably have some of the most creative dishes and like some of the most astounding dishes from creations of, you know, chefs over the years and all these extravagant places you can go to, downtown city lights, you know, or have these upper echelon restaurants, but the food quality probably ain't all that good, you know. But yeah, this is first time you realize America was really messed up. This is the part 1. I'm gonna actually go through all the parts. So comment down below y'all's thoughts if y'all have any new ideas, new perspectives, and definitely we'll do our best to address those. So peace, love, prosperity. God bless y'all, man. We'll see you on the next video. We out.